Hi, it's Alaska Granny. You know how I always try to be prepared for anything. So today I'm going to tell you about a new challenge that I've faced. I came down to the lower 48 to spend some time with my grandchildren in the Pacific Northwest, and down here I keep a travel trailer so that I can spend a little time with them, and we have our little granny camper. So when I arrived, the weather was great. Spring is sprung. It's practically summer. So warm weather was on our side. Because it's in the Pacific Northwest, moss tends to grow on everything. So I was cleaning off the outside. I'll put a link to a video I made last year that shows the concoction that I used and how I tried to clean it all off. And I didn't get completely finished this year because I noticed crawling along on the hitch into the trailer were all of these tiny ants. This army of ants suddenly was climbing along. And I followed along the hitch bar and down, and they came up on the little wire. They were climbing up the wire and heading straight in. Well, we know we don't want ants to invade anywhere, and I hadn't seen any around until I started washing it off. So maybe the soap or the water or something disturbed them. I don't think they were already in the trailer. I think then they decided to head out for warmer territories. Luckily, I already had some taro liquid ant baits, and these work great. I'll put a link to a video I made about them before. They really work great. It's a bait, and the ants will come into it. They'll carry it back wherever they came from, and then within a day or two, they all disappear. The problem is you have to still allow them to take it and to go away with it. I inspected all inside the trailer. I didn't find any in the trailer. I didn't find any ants into the cargo holds under the trailer. I didn't find them anywhere except on the outside. So I had high hopes that our trip was going to be getting underway and having the time of our lives. So everything was going really well until all of a sudden the kids noticed ants were coming up in Granny's big old bed, which nobody wants ants in their bed. And I was especially glad that this trailer has bunk beds for the kids, and I was especially glad they didn't get up into their beds. So then I had to take everything off the bed, wash it all, and then try to figure out where they're still coming in. I don't see any more on the outside. So some of them obviously got inside, and they're getting far too comfortable. And then I happen to have some taro spider spray. It's not designed for ants, but it's going to kill critters. So I sprayed that around on the ground outside, under the trailer, and into the storage bins underneath, and also around under Granny's mattress. So of course then we had to evacuate because you can't be inside when you've been spraying poison around. Okay, so it seemed like we got them all, so I've been vacuuming up little dead critters. But then I keep finding little survivors, little teeny tiny ones, and they'll still come crawling across the bed. So they're just not all gone. So we're now at day 6, and today I found one more little ant. So we're not rid of the ants yet. We're not able to get underway. So be prepared with your critter eradication kit. I've battled with ants, mice, rats, squirrels, so I have all kinds of different traps, poisons, taro products, ready to do battle for me at a moment's notice. I don't have as many here in my trailer because a lot of the critters that I've had to fight off before have been at home, so I have more of those types of items at home. But be prepared. If you find ants getting into your house, or a mouse in the house, or something like that, you need to have some of those supplies on hand. Because if you think about it, if it's in a real emergency situation, say the city stops picking up trash, you're going to have rats and mice around, and then if you go to the store, there aren't going to be any rat traps. That's something to think about, that when you need them, it might be a time when your neighbor needs them too, and so they're going to be in short supply. So that's one reason that I like to keep them on hand. I also want to be able to deploy them immediately when I find a problem. I don't want to wait, go to the store, try to pick out something, bring it back, see if it works. I want it out immediately when I see an invader. Your zombie invaders might come in the size of teeny tiny ants. So be ready to face challenges that could come your way. I also wanted to share with you some of the food supplies that I bought to spend some time with my grandkids. They don't eat a variety of foods. There are a few foods they'll eat no matter what. And so I want to make sure that I have enough of those foods on hand so they're going to have something to eat no matter what. So I fell back onto their absolute favorites. They'll eat them day in, day out, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They don't need to be refrigerated. I can keep them in my trailer, in a plastic bin, of course, to make sure nothing gets into them. So anyway, let me show you the 5 food items that I have for my grandchildren that are shelf stable, that I can have multiples of them in my trailer, in my pantry, in my emergency supplies, foods that I know that they will eat. Figure out what are the easiest foods that your family is willing to eat, and see if some of these are things that you haven't thought of that maybe you would like to have on hand. First is Ritz crackers. I bought 4 boxes of these because they can go through these like nobody's business. What's their favorite thing to serve on a Ritz? Peanut butter. So I also have 4 jars of peanut butter that I bought to have on hand for them. I like the smaller jars because then I don't have to worry about trying to get your whole arm down in there to scoop out the last of it. I also feel like it stays fresher if you have smaller amounts that you're opening at once. If you have a big family, get a big jar, but I never get the big jars. I get this size, and that works for me. My kids will eat it off a spoon. They'll eat it on a Ritz. They'll eat it on toast. They'll eat peanut butter on waffles, on pancakes, so having plenty of it on hand just makes sense in my world. Another cracker that they like are honey graham crackers. They'll eat these just as is, or guess what, with peanut butter. And so it's nice to have these around. And I know this isn't the best food for my little ones, but they love little mini chocolate chips. And my little granddaughter wants Ritz with peanut butter and a little bit of chocolate chips. And so if she'll eat it, I will make it for her. The last thing we want is a kid who's unhappy because they don't have something that they want. I remember when I was a kid, your parents used to stick food in front of you and you sat at the dinner table until you ate it all. And if you didn't eat it all, you got it again for breakfast. And that's not the kind of childhood that I want for my grandkids. That yes, we do end up not exploring all the different kinds of foods that we wish they'd eat. We can offer them to them, but I'm never going to force it on them. And so I don't want to battle with them over food, because my parents battling with me didn't make me want to try new things at all. But eventually, obviously, I learned to like all kinds of foods because, yeah, now I like all kinds of foods. It comes with time. So it may be controversial to just give them what they'll eat, but that's how I roll. The 5th food that I know they'll eat, but not as much as these other foods, is the Easy Mac. So since we're out in our little granny camper, our travel trailer, I have a little microwave so I can make the Easy Mac. One thing I learned about these on vacation one time is it doesn't come with a little bowl anymore. They used to come in a little cup. So make sure if you're buying just the Easy Mac, it's just little packets, make sure that you have a bowl on hand that you can fit it all in to put it into your microwave. So those are the 5 food items that I bought for my grandkids. 4 boxes of Ritz crackers, 4 jars of peanut butter, 2 containers of graham crackers, 2 packages of chocolate chips, and 2 boxes of the Easy Mac and Cheese. That's enough to make sure that we have a plentiful supply of foods going forward so that I can keep my little kids fed. Let us know in the comments below, what challenges have you faced lately? Did you come across anything surprising like I did with my battle of the ants? And what foods are you stocking up on to make sure that your family always has what they need? If you shop on Amazon, if you click in my link in the description box before you shop, it doesn't cost you anymore, and it helps give a little revenue that supports my channel. I hope you'll like my video, share it. Please subscribe to the Alaska Granny channel.